starting at the tips of the sticks. I usually try to strike every drum within a couple inches, or have the tips strike within a couple inches of each other. And this is just for consistency on the tone of the drum. As I'm sure all you know, when you hit a drum at a different spot, it's going to sound differently. And even if your sticks are a little bit off, you're going to get this kind of like ping pop sound if they're not all the same. So if you're going to commit to the center of the drum where it's drier, make sure they're both there. If you're going to commit to the edge and you want the ping sound, then make them both there. Sometimes just having that alternating of two different tones, it's just another really subtle point that if you ignore enough of these little subtleties, that really stacks up to a pretty sloppy drum sound. So definitely keep in mind of that. Moving up, for general snare drum playing, I think it's a good idea to have a 90-degree angle at the stick. And that's kind of a good general rule of thumb a lot of people use. I think that the truth is, what is 90 degrees to your body? It's just a number, but this is kind of a nice square edge to kind of aim for. And this comes into play as we kind of move our way down the stick. I'll show you in a sec. Of course, in different situations, and you'll see me in this video, it'll move. But if you're just going to sit and play on a snare drum, try to keep it a nice square. Moving back the stick, a really important thing here is keeping your thumb on the stick pretty much at all times. I think this is a huge part of the equation here, is having this fulcrum setup. I don't grip the stick with the index finger opposite the thumb. I usually favor the middle finger being on the other side of it, and this kind of sets up my fulcrum. Sometimes it'll end up being more like a triangle between the three of them. I don't like using this method. I think unless it's a buzz roll. A buzz roll is the exception, but for the most part, I like to leave the index finger out front just a little bit, and it's there for more of a stability instead of actually driving the stick. I think the reason why I do this is because if we think of this as the fulcrum point, or the teeter-totter, if you paid attention in physics class at all, you want to be further away from that fulcrum to get more leverage. So basically, pushing the stick up here is a waste of energy, and you can even see it in your finger when it turns red and white. I really like to favor the back fingers. So if we go back from the stick a little bit more, I pretty much always have these two guys wrapped around the back. We're further away from the fulcrum, we've got more leverage. That's a big deal right there. So underneath that, we've got all the fingers on the sticks, thumbs on the side, flip it over. Most of the times you want the back of your hands up. Again, this will change, especially in the right hand. If you're doing all this correctly with all your fingers on the stick, you should be able to see the butt end of the stick over the top of your wrist when you're looking down on your hands. Now the reason for this is if you just have your hands sitting naturally here, if you want the stick to fall underneath all your fingers, it's going to kind of naturally have this angle a little bit anyway. Some guys like to hold or girls like to hold their sticks like this and have it more in line with their arm. And at times this is cool. I'll do this occasionally on a ride cymbal. I think actually Mike Mangini does something quite similar to this. I'm not crazy about this because when you flip this upside down, the pinky is it's a little too far away for that pinky to reach the stick and then get that leverage I'm talking about. But with certain kind of molar type strokes, this works well too. But fingers on the back of the stick, I think that's huge. Moving back further yet, the wrist is going to be a huge part of it when we're talking about this molar stroke again. So kind of hold that thought. Going back further yet, the elbows. there's great players who keep their elbows down and keep them sticking out. I don't think it matters. Just pick whatever one you like and go with it. I like mine down. I don't move my arms a lot when I play. So I just like to stay relaxed. That's kind of part of, I think, my loose grip. So my elbows definitely stay down. And then I set up my drums that way. I don't set my cymbals too high. I don't have to reach up for anything. So keeping it relaxed. Moving back further yet, shoulders. This is a thing a lot of people overlook. I notice with other drummers sometimes, especially with students, we'll be playing along and all of a sudden they don't realize it, but their shoulders are super tense when they're playing. Just try to keep that in your mind, that you might want to just drop your shoulders, relax, chill out. You know, that extra tension in your body isn't going to be good for you. The basic stroke for me, again, it depends on what I'm playing. If I'm hitting a drum at that moment or a cymbal or whatever, it's going to be different. But for the most part, I just will do a basic tap stroke, and I don't usually have a conscious effort towards thinking of upstrokes and downstrokes. So if you're not familiar with what that is, some people like to have the idea of a downstroke is when you strike the drum and the stick stays down, and that's you want to think of that like, okay, this is my downstroke because my next stroke needs to be a soft one, and they'll have it there. And then an upstroke is when you lift up in preparation for the following stroke to be an accent. So it's like, okay, here's my upstroke, here's my downstroke. I'm not into that myself. I just think your sticks are going to do what they need to do naturally anyway. It's just an extra brain process that, to me, it's not necessary. So I don't apply that method at all. I just play what I need to. If I need to accent or not, my sticks are going to do that. If I'm going to play a buzz roll, and I can't do a buzz roll quite on this thing, that's where I'll kind of break some rules. That's where I'll pinch up front in the tight, pinch up tight in the front. So for me, a buzz roll, it's not comfortable when I do them. I couldn't sit and do a buzz roll for half an hour straight because there is tension in the front. So I grip it right at the fulcrum, and then I will lift off a little bit in the back. I won't, look like a fifth grader and stick my fingers down, but I will release it a little bit because I think that stick needs to wobble back here to get that vibration for a clean buzz stroke. So that's kind of one of my exceptions. When it comes to double strokes, the third type, it depends on the speed and what surface we're playing. Faster speeds is more of a rebound. Slower speeds, it's going to be more of a wrist-driven stroke. I think if you want to get good double strokes, you want to get both of those mindsets going.